Hello everyone, it's Bro back with another video. Today I'm gonna present to you guys some Bitbucket tutorial. So in this Bitbucket tutorial, I'm not gonna go through the installation of Git, which is actually the version control software that you're basically using to actually, well, post your code inside of the Bitbucket. Probably, I'm sure that you have guys heard of Git and GitHub. So both Bitbucket and GitHub are both like code repositories, right? So it's being used for developers in order to, I'm gonna say like quote, talk with each other in a kind of a software way where basically a lot of things are actually happening in there, and I'm not gonna go deep dive into it. I'm just just gonna go through the basics in order to understand what actually Bitbucket is, why is it being used for. And yeah, one thing that you should know is that Bitbucket is mainly used by software developers, and they're actually use the Bitbucket in order, well, to upload their code. And when they actually upload their code, other developers are actually in there. They can go around, they can read the code, they can actually make the changes to that code. Someone else is going to, let's say, apply that code. Let's say you have, of course there's always going to be like your senior software developer, and when the code gets approved, well, it gets added to the production, and that code runs into the production. That's the most simplest way that I can actually explain this. Now, the very first thing that you want to do when you're within the bucket itself is you want to actually create the repository itself. Now, the very first thing when you're actually creating a repository, and as a prerequisite, I recommend for you guys to download the Git. So you can actually go to Google, type in download Git, and depending on your operating system, you want to download the Git. For this video, I'm gonna be showing how is this being installed on Windows. I really hope that my windows don't go the blue screen. I know that CrowdStrike guys have been working hard to actually, repair the whole mess that happened like a week ago. That was a disaster. 9 million computers were actually off. Ouch. Anyways, let's get back to the fun stuff. Okay, so the very first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna create our repository. And think of a repository. I'm gonna say like it's like a warehouse where you're actually gonna be storing your code. The first thing that I want to do in here is, since I already have this one project in here and it's being called development. Now in here, as you can see, it says workspace. It's like your Jira site, right? And where you can actually have within one organization, you can have multiple Jira sites, right? So think of workspace like a Jira site. I have a project itself. I'm gonna go with the name of the repository. I'm gonna say backend updated, for example. I'm gonna say, nah, you know what? I want this to be a public repository. Now, mostly, since it's going to be all about the code in your company, you actually want strictly to remain this to be checked, because you don't want your repository to be out there in the wild, especially when it's on the internet. And you know for yourself that on the internet there are a lot of bad guys right there. No one likes bad guys, especially when they make mess. But the public repositories are basically those repositories that are being used for, open source software. One of the examples that I can give you guys is the Linux operating system. Basically, you all know that it's free. and it's open source. Basically, a lot of developers are actually contributing to the code, and of course it was made by Linus Torvalds. And yeah, that guy did an amazing job. He just handed over the free version of operating system to the world, and he said basically like, there's even the open code. Just go ahead, contribute it to it. Don't be the douchebag who's going to go there and who's going to ruin the code and with the malicious intent in order to, you know, have the fame and glory for themselves. But that is the other topic. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna leave this to be open because I'm not gonna be adding some secret code. So yeah, include the readme. Usually you actually want this to be there. Why? Because some other people who are actually gonna come to your repository, they actually want to read what your software does, what is the purpose of it. So yeah, and basically advanced settings, they're just there. Include git ignore, yes, and you just go ahead, click on the create repository, and you're done. Now, the very first thing that you actually want to do is you want to be configuring your Git, you know, because our goal is to have one file. I'm going to say it's going to be file of cats that is going to be appearing here. That means from my terminal, I'm going to push the code that needs to be appearing here. Of course, this is happening on the main branch, so it's gonna be on the main branch. I'm not gonna be introducing things like pull requests, forks, and things like that, because that's a little bit complicated. So I don't want to go into that. This is like, you know, the basic stuff. So the very first thing, let's get down to our terminal. So one thing that you want to do is you want to type git config, and you're gonna go with dash dash, you're gonna go with global, you're gonna go with user dot email. Let me just see, my email right here is this one. Yeah, I know I'm exposing my email to basically the whole YouTube, but yeah, you know what? If you want, you can send me a hello, and maybe I'm going to respond. Who knows? All right, so I typed in git config / global user dot email, and with all of these things. So that means I have configured my Git to be using this email address. So automatically it's gonna see with which Bitbucket account this email is, well, connected to. And that's actually good. Now, what I have here, let me go with dir. Now I have this cat's image, and I want to move cats dot webp, and it's going to go to app. Alright, let me go for cd app. Great. I don't believe I have anything in here, right? I have cats. Okay, great. I already did it. So the very first thing that you want to do, you want to click on this clone button. You're gonna click on copy. You're gonna go back right click, and there we go. This is what we did, and we actually cloned this repository. What actually this means is this means that we have cloned this 2D to our local system. Okay. So now the first thing, git add cats dot, okay, fatal not to git repository. Okay. So that means move cat. Okay, move cats down. It's gonna go backend. Gonna go for updated. Alright, cd backend. Git add cats dot. There we go, it's much better now. The second command, git status. And now it's gonna say, what is my status on the branch main? As you saw, that our main branch is this one. So this is where I'm actually making all of the changes. And now what I actually did was basically saying, you know, there is a git file in here. So you need to have a git file, otherwise you cannot actually push code. So now what? So it says that I have a new file in here. They're ready to be committed. So that is going to be the second command in chain, if I can say it like that. So the first one is git add, and that git add needs to be in the folder that contains the .git file that is generated when you're cloning a repository. Okay, so we have added. The next thing is git commit -m. You're always going to be using -m, even if you try to use empty strings. It doesn't work. So something needs to go here. I can say something like first commit. And this is what it says. So we have the first commit right here. And now let's say if it sees it. Yeah, it does. And it says the date is now. So this is my commit, and this is my initial commit, what I've basically done. So the next thing and the final thing is to git push. All right, so when you do this, it's gonna ask you to log into your Atlassian, and I'm going to say yeah. All right, so with this, it's gonna ask you for OAuth authorization. So this is actually using another software that is doing things in the background that is called SourceTree for Windows. And as you can see, it's being used for Windows. It says to read and only modify account information, to modify your repository issues, administer repositories, a lot of those things. And I'm gonna say, yeah, grant access. It says you may close this page. Okay, let's go with another git push. Because it said invalid credentials, and it was because I wasn't authorized for this. Since now I got the authorization, everything was actually done, the enumeration, the counting of the objects, writing the objects where there are total of 3 of these objects. Okay. Now, as you can see right here, we have our cat's picture added in here, but it says, you know, we cannot actually view this. If I want, I can download this, and voila, it's our cat picture. So this is what we actually have in our source file. Interesting. For someone who hates cats, sorry guys, that was my inspiration. But yeah, that is everything that you actually guys needed to know about these basic things and how everything works within the Bitbucket. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you guys. Bye bye.